Now, you know what they say? We have less illegal immigrants coming through here illegally than any time in the last 10 years. Because they're letting them through the ports of entry. They're legalizing illegal immigration. The Biden policies are changing every community in this country. And I'm not even talking about race and ethnicity, although that's true. I'm talking about the quality of life. If Biden doesn't care about the quality of life in a dark blue state, in a dark, dark blue city, then he doesn't care at all. I've explained why he's doing this, because he wants to flip Texas to blue. And once that happens, it's game over. Republicans can never win. But the way people suffer and the changes that they have to make in their lifestyles. You know, in Staten Island, they have these big soccer fields, and they're known throughout Staten Island. And kids come there and they play soccer after school, and they have soccer leagues and so forth. That's going to stop because they're putting tents there for illegal immigrants. You've got these iconic hotels in New York, in the city, that are now filled with illegal aliens who are destroying these hotels. You've got parks throughout New York. I'm waiting for Central Park to fall next, where you have foreigners, illegal aliens, staying in these tents. God knows where they're defecating and doing all these other things. But there's an increase in crime, there's an increase in rape, there's an increase in burglary, there's an increase of all these things. Why? Because we don't know who they are. There was a story the other day that there were individuals led into this country with ties to ISIS. And the Biden administration took a victory lap. They said they found them, and they found the group of men who were bringing... What are you talking about? You found them in the United States. Who didn't you find? You know, who didn't we find? Anyway, let's take a look at this.
The Biden administration and the public officials of New York City are in deep disagreement over immigration. The New York mayor and governor have asked for increased federal support to handle migrants in the state.
Now, this is amazing because they've had about 100,000 illegal aliens come to New York. They're getting swamped. We've had 5 to 6 million illegal aliens come into the country. The vast majority through Texas. They're overwhelming Arizona, the other border states. In Texas, it was fine when they thought it was only Texas. But when you have 5 or 6 million illegal aliens coming into the country, they're not going to stay in Texas. A lot of them will. They're not going to stay in Arizona. A lot of them will. They're going to move to Georgia. And they're going to move to South Carolina. They're going to move to North Carolina. Obviously, New Mexico, Nevada, Southern California, Florida, particularly Southern Florida. That's exactly what's happened. And then they go to the cities. Many of them have been city dwellers. And so the cities are overwhelmed. LA, New York, Chicago, Philadelphia, you name it. And that's what's taking place. The country is being changed fundamentally. The culture, the demographics, even the issue of economics and school districts and crime. Fundamentally transforming America as they plot it because they want to flip Texas. Go ahead.
Business leaders, including Paramount Global, CBS's parent company, called on the administration to address what they described as a humanitarian crisis. Now, in the first response, administration officials are putting the responsibility back on the city and state. CBS News immigration reporter Camilo Montoya Galvez joins us.
How long ago did they have an immigration reporter? I'll bet that's very new. You literally need a reporter who's focused only on laser-focused immigration in a New York City, on CBS News New York City. Go ahead.
Talk more, Camilo. Remind us of the present situation and what it is that New York officials want.
Good evening, John. Whether you want to call it a crisis or not, and you want to use a different term, it is absolutely true that New York City right now is facing dire and formidable humanitarian and operational challenges when it comes to housing.
Now notice it's only when it hit New York where CBS News is and these other news organizations like in Washington too. As long as it's McAllen, Texas, or El Paso, or Tucson, Arizona, or whatever, out of sight, out of mind. But now it is, right there where the ruling class is. Go ahead.
Tens of thousands of migrants and asylum seekers who are in need of shelter. The city is currently housing nearly 60,000 migrants across over 200 facilities, including hotels, homeless shelters, and now John F. Kennedy Airport. The city, for over a year now...
Wait a minute, they're housing them at John F. Kennedy Airport? Good Lord. Go ahead.
You know, John has been asking the administration, the federal government, for millions of dollars in federal assistance to declare a national emergency.
Why doesn't the Democrat Party take a different position on illegal immigration? Why don't they support a physical wall? Why don't they support increasing the number of Border Patrol and ICE once illegal aliens come into the country? Why don't they actually support something like that, defending the border, defending the country against this onslaught of illegal aliens? And they're not just coming from Central and South America, although most are. They're coming from all over Asia, all over the Middle East, all over Africa, even parts of the old Soviet Union, China. They're pouring into our country. We don't even know who they are. All kinds of different languages, all different kinds of cultures. You know how many republics have survived such a thing? None. Zero. Governor Richard Lamb was a Democrat. He was a liberal, very liberal. But on the issue of immigration, he was actually very rational. Arthur Schlesinger Jr., a longtime Democrat operative, a Harvard University professor. His father was an advisor to FDR. He was an advisor to Kennedy, and also an advisor to Lyndon Johnson. And he wrote a book, The Disuniting of America, which I cite in my new book, The Disuniting of America. These are old-time liberals. Teddy White, famous author who wrote about every one of the presidential elections, big liberal. He wrote about how the changes in immigration are destroying the country. These are all liberals, not radical leftists of the modern Democrat Party. Old-time liberals. What Governor Lamb said is, in a speech that he wasn't even planning to give, he was supposed to give it on another topic. I seem to recall it was 2008 after he left the governorship. In the speech is, let me tell you how to destroy America. Open borders, biculturalism, bilingualism, treating every culture as equal to ours. In the public schools, promoting racial and ethnic identity. He went through the whole list. And he said, and that's how you destroy America. Well, that is how you destroy America, and America's being destroyed right in front of our eyes and in 1,000 different ways. Go ahead.
On this issue, and to implement a strategy that diverts migrants to other places in addition to New York so they can resettle in places.
Just push them to other parts of the country, you see. But the problem's the border. And the man in charge of the border is the problem when it comes to the border. And it's even bigger. The problem is this. The Democrat Party hates America. How else do you explain this? How else do you explain these policies? You can't. What is it about America that this party likes? They go on and on about fundamentally transforming America, which is exactly what they're doing. We're in the middle of a revolution. That's why that border's open. Now you might say, but these are Democrats complaining about Biden. Well, why should Biden give a damn? Do you think the Democrats in New York are suddenly going to vote Republican? There's no Rudy Giuliani in there anymore. First of all, they've taken out Rudy Giuliani. But that city's more Democrat than ever before. Because people who can get out have gotten out. And more are trying to get out and go to places like Florida. So it's more Democrat than ever before. So they count on, well, New York will vote Democrat, big deal. They're playing long ball. Just like Xi and Mao and those guys, they play long ball. They want an all-powerful national political party that has monopoly control over the governing system and the culture. That's what Marxist parties do. That's what autocratic parties of all kinds and all stripes do. That's what they're doing. And if New York has to suffer, they'll get over it. Go ahead.
Most importantly, however, they have been asking the administration to grant migrants in the city and other places legal status so they can apply for work authorization earlier on.
They're trying to get them to, this just makes me sick. You think they really want them to get legal status so they can work? We got more people working under and getting paid under the table than you can imagine. They're trying to get them legal status so they can vote. That's why the administration's doing this. They want Democrat voters. Go.
Right now, because of a federal law dating back to the 1990s, migrants, most of them at least, have to first formally apply for asylum and then wait an additional 180 days from the day they filed.
Now, why did we used to do that? Anybody know? Raise your hand. So we can figure out who the hell this person is. Maybe they're a gang member. Maybe they're MS-13. Maybe they've been deported 1,200 times before. Maybe they're a child rapist. Maybe they're part of the drug cartels. 180 days isn't a long time to ask for somebody who becomes a permanent resident in the United States before you rubber stamp it. So they need time to track down these people, and there's so many people now they can't do it. So they're just letting them into the country, and they want to give them legal status, legal status, legal status, you know, and then they pretend that they're moving this process along faster than anybody else. They're not moving any process along. They are regularizing illegal immigration. They are legalizing illegal immigration.
Want to see more Mark Levin? Go to levintv.com and subscribe now.